graduated in agricultural science from Bengaluru and went on to complete PhD program in plant physiology from the prestigious Indian Agricultural Research Institute, PUSA, in New Delhi. While working as an ASP in Dakshina Kannada district, he investigated and unearthed serial murders of nearly 20 unmarried women of Karnataka and Kerala by the infamous cyanide killer Mohan. Based on the investigation, the accused has been awarded death penalty. As SP of Belgavi district, which is communally and linguistically sensitive, numerous law and order situations were handled in an extensive misuse of social media to spread rumors and raise communal and linguistic sentiments which were noticed. Extensive hotspot analysis was done by Mr. Chandra Gupta in providing security in the New Year celebration, IPL matches and legislative assembly sessions in Bengaluru. Presently, he is working as the SP Cybercrime Division with the CID in Bengaluru. He is actively involved in training and capacity building in association with corporate partners. We are very humbled to have you amongst us today. Thank you.
My presentation here will mainly focus on the organization building and its capabilities to actually cater to the field policing. Because since yesterday you must have heard a lot of theory and a lot of advances, but ultimately the success of any organization depends on how many people in the organization are capable of handling a challenge. One may be excellent and there may be a lot of gap between the one person who is excellent and the average. Our job is to actually build this gap. And Lady GP Madam has recently visited Karnataka, and then actually I am here to just tell you what all we are doing there in Karnataka. And I'll be focusing a little bit on some context into the journey taken by Karnataka police in cyber policing. We can all think, why is it our job? We were happy doing traditional policing. Why is it our job? We should all understand that it is only the process that has changed. The other all things have been same, and it is that advance in the process in which we are interacting and conducting our business which has changed, and practically the responsibility remains the same, and we are having statutory responsibility to do this. We cannot shy away from this responsibility. And other important thing is, this one, securing critical infrastructures. As I said, our health, then our power supply, and lot of other services from the state are actually connected to these advances in information and communication technologies, and which is our job as policemen to provide security. And also, we all know how competition is increasing day by day for claiming that we are growing and someone else is not growing. And even public wants government to ensure growth of their country, increasing employment and increasing better livelihoods for them. All these are interconnected. And the most important thing is the new net, which we are all worried about. It actually monitors and controls all the critical infrastructure, and the maintenance of its integrity, whatever is the level may be an individual, an organization, or a state, or a nation, or it's a World Wide Web. The integrity and availability is critical for economy, public safety, and national security. Next, what are the common concerns? These are one of the most important thing is how we secure the data in this most advanced interaction between human beings and organizations, and also we protect privacy. We know how rights advocates in the Western world are vehemently opposing intrusions into privacies, and in our own Information Technology Act, Section 72, if I am correct, it provides for protection of this privacy. And I will come to it later on. And then the compatibility of legislation across the countries, that is what we call dual criminality principle, most of the countries cooperate only when they also consider what we are asking and mentioning about an incident is crime in their country. And then transboundary issues, we all know how blur are the boundaries, and in fact we don't have boundaries in these kind of crimes. And post-crime precautions, that is immediately after the crime has happened, a data breach has happened. For example, a DOS attack, how quickly the organization can recoup and come back to its original state. Next, most important thing we face as a law enforcement agency for investigation is this, what I call post-crime dilemma. Many of the organizations, what they will do, they will first conduct internal investigation to find out what has happened, and then they do remediation and what we call clean installation, because that is essential for them. And then most of the companies, we have received a couple of cases where a corporate has lost nearly 13 crore rupees, and they did all these things and then came and gave a complaint. Earnestly our IOs went following the procedure, but we could not find any data. They are safe, but the offense has happened. We know investigation crime is the responsibility of the state. That's why it is our headache that we remediate these things. And then another important thing, fear of data disclosure. We all know how indiscriminately sometimes we go and seize the devices, whether it is hard drive, whatever is available thing. And we are not aware what exactly is the data already available, which actually pertains to the crime in question. And there are cases where many of the hard drives which have been seized, we found lot of other materials which are actually not connected to the crime. Again, I was mentioning about the privacy clause. It is the responsibility of the IO who has been empowered under IT Act for getting access to this kind of information to protect the privacy and see that this data is not disclosed. Many of the corporate companies fear this kind of data disclosure, even though it is with the police hands, it may leak. That's why they do this kind of precautionary action. One more phase of this is, in some of the hard disks we find lot of material which actually portrays the person accused in involvement in other crimes. Simple example is, in some of the hard drives we find lot of child porn material, which is an offense. How you are going to do about it? These kind of issues actually started coming, and in future these things are going to be, we believe in the field they will be huge. Next, known features of the threat environment which we are having. Cyber attacks growing in number and sophistication, and as the new technologies develop, there are always new kind of cyber attacks and evolving malware risks, and then state-sponsored cyber attacks and cyber espionages, which presently we can have very few cases, but which are important in the perspective of national security. And what at the field level we are more concerned is this one. We know how digital inclusion has enabled participation of public in large numbers. It is actually exponential growth in participation. But what is their awareness level about use of these kind of technologies? This is our biggest concern at the police station level. Not only most of the times, 90% of the times, the complainant is unable to explain what has happened. This is the actual scenario we are facing. We may discuss advances, we may discuss theoretical practices or advances in some other countries, but at field level, nearly 70 to 80% of the cases, our police will be dealing this kind of problems. And we in Karnataka are actually focusing on enabling the machinery at police station level. This is another one, 2015 survey by the Potomac Institute. These are the 5 questions which they had posed to different countries and ranked them on cyber security preparedness. And they concluded that no country is cyber ready in 2015. This is the survey. Just to keep these things in perspective, I have put this. Whether we have a national cyber security strategy, CERT existence, how security breach incidents are handled, does the country have an information sharing mechanism? We are all aware our country has not signed any conventions on cyber security or cyber crime so far, and the country investing in cyber security basic and applied research. This is most important because whatever the technologies or the advanced tools we are sourcing now are basically coming from the market, and we have only, if I can remember, in our policing for social media monitoring, some of the advanced tools were actually prepared by IIIT Delhi and NTRO and were given to specified agencies within the government for social media monitoring since last 4 years. Otherwise, most of the tools, for example, forensic tools, we are actually sourcing from private or corporate companies which are exorbitantly high, very, very high in cost, and they have to train us, and for training additional cost. Recently in Karnataka, we had procured cheaper forensic tools in our DSCA lab, for which they were unable to come and train here, and now one of the corporate entity is sponsoring our officers to go to US and get trained. This is the scenario. This is the tip of the iceberg, but it's always good that the arrowhead moves ahead and rest all will get the benefit. Just to keep things in perspective, in early days, this is what has to happen. Maybe about 20 years back, these are the things, this was the scenario, and where data was still not a property, at least at the police station level. Then another one, lack of common understanding in the sense what I believe about the evidence, whether the prosecution also believes and whether the judiciary also believes. Only when all these are believed and cross-checked, the so-called proved beyond doubt is assumed. This is the problem we are facing. This is actually one of the real scenarios in a 2611 case which I had drawn here. Now, what was the ecosystem? There is no exclusive cybercrime legislations in the 90s, and lack of awareness among police, lack of IT infrastructure, lack of cases involving IT were being reported, and there was this suspicion towards technology from both public as well as police. If someone comes and tells to your SHO, the person sitting as an SHO will be basically head constable who must have put in around more than 25 years of service, and he got recruited in much earlier. How he will get convinced about somebody is telling, okay, this has happened? This is the problem. Then the reaction from other side, hey, these people doesn't know anything. This is what to see. Then the other issue, advances in technology were very fast-paced. We know speed of microprocessor chips doubles every 12 to 18 months, storage density doubles every 12 months, and prices keeps dropping, which is again a scenario. Then I will come to Karnataka, how we started. In 1999, a cybercrime cell set up at CID in 1999. This is much before the enactment of Information Technology Act, and then the same cell was declared as police station in 2001, first in the country, and its jurisdiction was given as entire Karnataka state, because that was the grasp of the things at the time, and the kind of categorization of crimes into, okay, these are the cyber crimes, and most of them are not. That's how the categorization was given, and initially cybercrime cell was set up basically to give advisories and kind of repository of knowledge for sensational cases. And then in 2013, more cyber police stations created in 2013 in the range headquarters. About 7 police stations were created. Gradually from 1 to we have moved to 7. And in 2018, now we have a cybercrime police station in every district. These look after around 7 to 8 legislations, including IT Act and Karnataka Protection of Interest of Depositors Act and NDPS and some other acts, basically focusing on all offences which involve our ICT infrastructure. Then this is the theoretical model which I can explain how Karnataka responded. There was a change in the external environment and the system had to respond. It responded. There were short-term responses, there were long-term responses, there were decisions at strategic level and operation level, there were feedbacks, and then there were enabling changes in the internal environment which started reacting to the external environment. One of this important thing will be adoption of police IT in Karnataka before actually CCTNS module was rolled out by central government, which later on integrated into that. That's what I am calling the internal changes. Police IT. Every police station, when there used to be a review on police IT, I still remember, even in as late as 2008, 2007, people used to start thinking, okay, something they are going to face, something which they are not aware how it's functioning. But later on now, everybody is comfortable and everything is happening live on police IT. This is the internal changes. And then the most important thing, channelizing the resources. As a government organization, our resources were, it may be huge at the level of government, but as an organization it will be very minimal, and they have to be prioritized and used for the internal objectives and responding to external stimuli. And internally, a lot of investment was put in enabling police IT. And then this one particular issue, cyber security or cyber forensics. As police, we are statutorily responsible for investigation. Though it's part of cyber security, the cyber security involves much larger picture where a lot of security of infrastructure, critical infrastructure is taken care. For this, the Karnataka government has already set up a center of excellence for cyber security in the Department of IT, and that is actually doing work in this. But we, because to fulfill our statutory obligation, Karnataka government in the police department decided that they will focus more on enabling investigations. That is basically forensic science. Then police response, how we responded. Knew how police hierarchy and the flow of information is hierarchical. And in Karnataka CID, once this cell was set up, there was actually breaking of barriers of hierarchy, of restriction, of closedness of the system, and a lot of people from outside and the corporates, especially from Data Security Council of India, they started coming, interacting, and they went further ahead and established one Data Security Council of India lab within the premises of CID, and they were consulted by each and every one from a inspector to DG level officers, straight one-to-one, rather than waiting for the hierarchical flow of information. This is the critical need of change which is required in our systems. If at all we have to even develop a semblance of capability to actually respond to the fast-paced advances in ICT. And the more functional than hierarchical, I still remember, I am telling you very practically, one of the DYSP who is working in this kind of field in more than 15 years in CID, is in CID. Now he is well respected, he is directly contacted by everyone, and now he is an asset. Our job is to create assets like that at every district and every police station. This is the important thing which we have to do, if at all we have to address innumerable number of complaints which are coming to police station, especially after our digital financial inclusion, where nearly 72% of the offences are reported are in with respect to financial gains. If you take OTP frauds or mobile wallets, most of these things, you could say, I mean, it's very easy to say, to give a Twitter advertisement that don't share your OTPs and all. And we all know, since for decades we are still pasting the poster on our public walls that don't spit here. But still scary. This much difficult it is to actually educate public. You can imagine the seriousness of this. And then most important, engaging with private partners. Lot of private companies, in fact, the setting up of our cyber cell itself was actually by Canara Bank, and then with under the umbrella of NASCOM it developed, and they were more open to ideas. Even in the CID Karnataka, our DG sits with these people, asks about the developments, and try to know. This is a continuous process and collaborative working. I will come to this later. This is the existing cyber lab started in 2007, Canara Bank funded, government supported for 3 years, conduct basic and advanced cybercrime investigation courses. Our basic aim was to actually conduct training and improve the quality of human resource. These are the training achievements which we have done. 5-day courses, short courses, and outreach programs. Nearly 17,000 personnel have been trained. And most of them in some of the police stations which we have newly created, they are actually trained twice. And we keep a database of this kind of training, and we interfere in sometimes at the district level, if at all there is a pressure for them to get transferred and these kind of things. Because unless the institutions work at the police station level, individual excellency actually does not benefit anyone. That's what I believe. Next, these are the public by DSCI, but much of the, I mean, nearly to some extent, the contributions were there from the police of CID who are working. These are the publications of DSCI. Then we recently upgraded the existing lab with double monitors for helping hand-holding of forensic training in whatever the tools which we are using. And then the newest venture in CID is the setting up of Center for Cybercrime Investigation, Training and Research in CID headquarters. Recently a MOU was signed between CID, Data Security Council of India and Infosys Foundation. And there is a governing council, DGCID as a chairperson, and a trustee of Infosys Foundation as a member, CEO DSA as a member, and a permanent special invitee. Presently he is Mr. Raghupati, who is actually hand-holding many of the projects in Government of India, and SPCCD as a member secretary. Then there is a technical advisory committee. This is also headed by the special invitee from Infosys. There are 6 members. And the most important thing to be noted here is 2 representatives from industry and 1 from academia. These are the results which are required right now. Because I could sense in some of the, I mean, as natural curiosity, we were asking whether something is possible, whether something is not. It's very difficult to answer because the technology is being progressed. Maybe you ask the question today, few months from now, what was not possible may be possible. This is a continuously developing field. Then these are the goals: to support the police, prosecution and judiciary in handling technology investigations and develop capabilities and cooperating efficiently with public and private sector, development of SOPs in cybercrime investigations, to perform research in digital forensics and cybercrime investigations. These SOPs are, most of them are available in the manuals, and even one manual has been already released in Kannada language to enable our constabulary and others to actually understand. And to foster entrepreneurship for development of needy cyber forensic protection solutions. This is the most and the enviable objective of CCITR, where there is a plan to provide incubation center for developing of technologies which are actually need based for our department and the police problems, rather than actually purchasing the tools and then we are working on it. Why I am telling this? For example, even in disk forensics, in Karnataka we have 3 tools and a particular disk is subjected to all these 3 tools. It is not that you just simply put into one available software tool and you get information. No, not like that. This is how actually the system works. Collaboration with national and international actions with digital forensics domain. This is the goals. And key activities which are envisaged is Resource Center for Digital Forensics, Forensic Investigation Support, Research and Development, Malware Research Center, Training and Event, Legal and Policy Research Unit. These are the key activities which are going to be undertaken by the lab, which is almost nearing complete. We are just waiting for the inauguration. Key activities: Resource Center for Digital Forensics act as a forensic helpline. The center, once it is fully functional, it is actually catering to the needs of judiciary, prosecution and police in terms of forensic. It's actually a helpline where you can actually dial, call or come visit and get the solution available. And the repository of latest tools, then Technical Resource Center to coordinate with national and international bodies, then forensic investigation support, we are providing guidance. This is the most important thing. Maintain national directory of forensic experts and vendors. We all know presently BP R&D is actually doing this job and circulating to the states periodically who are the vendors, what are the tools available and what actually it does if you purchase it and all these things. Then cybercrime database and risk dashboard setup. This is also one of the key activities which is taken up. Then in R&D, basically partnerships and develop indigenous tools, a research to defeat anti-forensic techniques and validation and testing of cyber forensic tools. These are very important things which actually the basic focus on this setup of CCITR is to indigenously develop tools. Then Malware Research Center, we all know, you got understood also how this keep on evolving as the technology progresses. And one important thing is partnerships with universities and CERTs. Presently we have CERT at the national level, and there are in Karnataka also they are discussing about setting up a CERT computer emergency response team under Center of Excellence in Cyber Security. Then training, problem and need based learning, simulation based learning and reflective learning. This is the most important, where actually the learning will be taken based on the field experience of the police. Then what are the benefits for CID Karnataka? Will become a self-standing agency in handling cyber crimes. Act as platform to channelize expertise from IT industry to police. Then nurture entrepreneurship to develop new solutions for criminal justice system. Better interaction with policymakers and reduction in time for expert opinion. This, as our previous speaker was also telling, we have we have 5 earmarked FSLs, the central level, for getting expert opinion. And we still know, even in Karnataka, we face once a disk or a mobile is mirror imaged, some of the IOs can't make out anything out of it. Then again they need help. And then afterwards everything is convinced, then actually the device is sent to FSL to get a opinion, which as an expert opinion is obtained, is accepted and admissible in the court. What in our forensic unit, I will come to that, what we are doing is, we are actually assisting, giving a technical assistance investigation, which you are using the output, you are using only for your investigation and you are not submitting in the court, because that is not a certified, like FSL, it is not a certified one. But maybe gradually we progress towards that. Infosys Foundation support, this is the support which they are giving. For 5 years, operational expenses they are giving, and technical manpower and associated costs. As I told you, in one of the case with a company called Tech, we have purchased chip of forensic tools, which we don't know how to use, and they were supposed to train, they didn't come. Our people are going there. It's going on. This is the one important thing, institutionalizing change. Okay, all these changes are brought about by decisions at strategic level, but how you are going to see that these things are continued in the institution? We have a special detective cadre in CID. Present 4 batches have been recruited, and what I mentioned about one of the person, he was from the first batch. They are not transferable, they will remain in CID, and this is a very good system which I believe some of these officers have actually contributed to the articles in developing SOPs. And then we have one dedicated ADP who actually advises us in IT Act. Then this is the most important thing. Our cybercrime division has been earmarked 25 lakh rupees per annum from Karnataka to actually hire experts from market, which we are doing. And this is apart from what the facilities which have been given under CCPWC scheme of Government of India. In that also we are hiring separately. Then the result, lot of contributed significantly in SOPs. Cybercrime investigation manual has been prepared, cybercrime training material, cyber forensics handbook and pocket handbook in Kannada. We have a lot of outreaching programs and guest lectures, and I should mention here, this is our major problem in Karnataka. Banks, especially cooperative banks. Every loss of money is a loss to the public exchequer, it's not to the bank. Most of these banks, they have installed their functional software from third party and some vendors, and it's only basically compliance oriented of RBI guidelines. And we have seen some of the cooperative banks, which I don't want to name, where they were not even aware nearly more than a month after their server has been hacked, and then they came to us. And in some of the cases in the heart of Bangalore, in one bank where they came to know immediately, and our people worked, and within 2 days the amount was transacted into nearly 196 accounts for working continuously by contacting and emailing those banks. All these accounts were blacked, and all the money which was actually siphoned off was returned to the complainants. These kind of things are happening now even at police station level, where immediately the complainant comes, our people act, because now they have been trained what to do, whom to contact. And even because of the insistence of Government of India also, you must have all aware of the recent launch of SciCard program, where the similar platform for investigation is being provided by MHA, and how you actually you are assisted in contacting the intermediaries, or if you want a solution for the subject matter experts, and in Karnataka we are doing it. Then investigation challenges, lack of information sharing mechanism across LEAs. We know right now we don't have a specified platform. If suppose Kerala police want to share their experience or their concerns with Karnataka police, it's always one-to-one. There is no actually platform created, and lack of standard procedures for seizure and analysis of digital evidences. Then seeking information from service providers located outside India. This has been a biggest headache for us in some of the cases, where through email spoofing, and the money was wired directly into a bank in Hungary, and when we contacted to the bank, we don't respond. We are not in your jurisdiction. Straight away, can have a lot of emails which have been received in many of the intermediaries and service providers like that. For a long period of time, this is a journey, and Some are actually responding, and even when they respond, what they share is the only metadata, not the content. It's a kind of a difficult journey. Then we have problems associated with MLAT. We know all how much time it takes through MLATs. This is one important thing, preservation and retention of information by the intermediaries. Yet to notify the rules under 67C. This is the pretext which many of them are taking, the intermediaries. Then I explained these things, public misconceptions about capacity of police. Companies don't report to police facing negative. There is no proper legal requirement for a company to mandatorily report attacks. In the rules framed by Government of India under Section 79A, they mentioned that they shall report, but there is no clarity what if they don't. These are the issues which will be rectified. Then we have anonymity in cyberspace, use of Tor and invisible browsing. We all know how difficult it is, and the attributing ownership, authorship to digital evidence. As in the previous lecture we were discussing how difficult it is actually. Why I am mentioning about the interaction between strategic and operating level is because of this. Most of us can still think that, okay, knowing IP address is done, you got the accused. No, it is not that simple. Now there are a lot of things, even after knowing the IP address, how much difficult it is actually to get to the accused. And we are actually writing emails and letters to the intermediaries also in this regard. It will be very difficult. This kind of feedback is given at the strategic level, and which actually help us to change policies or change the guidelines. And we are I will give an example where actually we did one of those things. And this is also high performance pressure and stressful working conditions, burnout. This is what I was emphasizing. When you train only few people, they get burned out. Our job is to train lots and lots of people who can at least share the major burden of attending to normal cases. There are always people who actually look into advanced crimes, but majority of our job will be at the police stations. They should treat to every person who lose their money or who face harassment online, comes immediately, they are actually attended, and the confidence in the system is restored. These are some of the issues. We know this is how important this is, chain of custody, and lack of understanding, and it's basically lack of common understanding of law and jurisdictional issues. And then these are the capacity building challenges we found: resource mobilization, training, and as well as training of trainers, sharing of best practices, public education and awareness. This has been continuously happening since more than a decade. Then we know this is the capacity building for investigation and enabling police is not a one-time investment. In a simple way, I can tell, in our lab there must be around 30 tools which we have purchased, and the same tool license expires, then again we pay, then we get. This is a continuous process. Always, that's why when sourcing from market, no doubt you have open source tools, but as some things they are freely available, their limitations will also be too many. Then we have a proper selection of digital forensic tools. That's what I was mentioning. You cannot, just by using it one tool which you have purchased, you cannot 100% assure that yourself that you are extracting every data available in that device. No, it is not like that. This we had seen, but they have syllabus, and even some of the courses they are just calling for a guest lecture on cyber crimes, which probably we have to change. This is the workload which we are having in cyber forensic unit. every year, for example, in 2016, we have given technical assistance in 1,186 devices. This includes all our mobiles, hard disks and other devices which actually brought to our central forensic unit in CID. You see majority of them, this one and mobile phones. And as I was there in the previous sessions, one was asking about, you can't get a straightforward answer that this is possible and this is not possible. It all depends on what are the tools available and how much it is damaged, and our understanding of where exactly is the data stored in the device. This is one example I am just quoting as a reference of our work. We all know Beam app, which was vulnerable, wherein in one of the cases, the accused actually is trying to install Beam app, then in between he disconnects himself from the net, then he receives a configuration message, then he sends it. This kind of things were happening, and then our team will be interacting with National Payment Corporation of India as well as RBI continuous basis, and we raised this problem with them, and they were actually responsive enough and sent an email that they have corrected the vulnerability but not completely eradicated. I am just giving you one example where actually we are interacting the people responsible at the higher level so that the positive changes can be brought about. Then this is the, can we have a cyber enforcement cadre as detectives we are having, and speeding of MLAT process. It's all paperwork nowadays, it takes more than a year. Can something be found about this? Then interagency cooperation and basically building capacity of local police stations. We all know we are in the stage of earmarking special agencies to look into cyber crimes, but I believe our ultimate objective should be every police station should be made capable, and these kind of special units should be handling only special cases. Otherwise their workload will become so much. We all know, I have worked in field for 10 years. If something is taking more time to understand and comprehend, we will definitely send it to, even when I was in field, I used to send it to CID. It was easy job, then wait for them to respond. How much workload they will be having once I come to this side, we are watching. It will be very difficult. Our job is actually to enable local police stations so that they do most of the job, and only in important or very critical cases they entrust it to the special police stations or agencies. Then I know this section 72 IT Act, which I explained, and another one important thing which sir also was mentioning about, we all know in search and seizure in CRPC traditional way, we have to mention the object that has to be searched and the place where you think that it is available. Am I right? Then we take the search warrant. But can that logic be extended to the cyberspace? Where sir was mentioning about in some of the countries they are actually specifying this is the file or this is the drive where the desired incriminating evidence is available. Maybe we have to move towards that, which reduce lot of additional work and data handling, and it will be very specific even during evidence. And this also helps, we don't know in future this is going to be a huge problem, I'm telling privacy issues, because even our people indiscriminately seizing the devices and getting the mirror collecting the data. Most of them don't even come to complaint because they know something, even when not related to crime, but something wanted is also there in their device. And in another case, there is a customer database in most of the companies which they fear it may get leaked to their competitors. All these sort of things are there which maybe they will sort out as and when it is required. Then use of provisions in Chapter 9 IT Act, especially Section 43A, where the power of adjudication has been given and penalties can be imposed. We are seeing not very large scale use of these provisions, and most of the cases are actually referred to police. And then again, even when there are visible what you can say, you can make out that there is a visible default of one party and based on penalty may be done, but still again when it comes to police, we go on gathering evidence and proving it. Maybe more and more use of this will also help. And we all know we are doing only for that 1% of indexed internet. All our problems basically, we are handling only that. But as police, are we not concerned about the serious drug dealings, arms deals, which are actually happening in the darknet? And maybe the lesson we learned handling this, we should be actually proactive, which I believe, and set up cadres in the states who actually dedicate themselves to looking into these issues. Thank you. To refer, I don't exactly remember the words. We are giving a notice. Yeah. Yeah, see, I mean 91 CRPC we are issuing even before some of the cases registration of FIR also. But they are obeying. And some of them are obeying. For the content, downing of the content which we are issuing the notice under IT Act, I didn't exactly understand what exactly your problem is. I don't think, I really don't know the elaboration of that things. Yeah. No, I don't know the details about those cases in Bangalore City Police. That is the only one case. And afterwards, none of the cases were registered in Bitcoin, but we all know Bitcoin is not a legal tender as recognized by Government of India, but there is no specified punishment also because it is not a crime. We have seen, I will come to that, in some of the OTP cases, as early as 2013 itself, the persons enter into Bitcoin mining and within 1 year, this is a live case which we are handling, he has transactions of around 3 crore rupees. Where all this money is going? This is also a big problem for us. He has not paid a single tax. I don't know the present details of that case.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir. How could you explain how you handle in case of we get the natted IP?
Pardon?
Natting IP. Yes.
The IP addresses. You should ask the theoretical expert. I am from field. And
okay, sir, we are facing a lot of issues in that.
Yeah, we are facing and in fact that has been the major concern which we have raised even with the MHA during video conference, which we have faced in CCWC complaints also. And theoretically and advanced technologies, you have experts, but I am speaking only from the perspective of the field. Yeah. That imaging or the data extracted from the device, you are not supposed to submit in the court. After this, you are actually writing and sending the device to the FSL. What we are doing is helping you recover technical data and search for the evidence. Exactly, that's what is happening. We move towards actually establishing and authentication of this kind of labs more and more, because we know only 5 labs are authenticated throughout India. One is in our Bangalore also, FSL. We know we always compare ourselves with what are the facilities available in FSL. Are we also having those facilities in our CFU? And after the investigation, specifically they are writing to FSL. No, this is a scenario. If the court accepts, maybe the higher court then doesn't accept. It's as simple as that. That's what we need. Even I forgot to mention, the equal amount of training is being given to prosecutors and judiciary also, judicial officers. Because we need a platform where we all understand the thing in the same way. This is being done. Can you be a little louder? The resource center is organizing training for
third-party tools other than the individually developed tools by your.
we are actually giving training, and most of them are the tools purchased only. We have not developed any tools. In CCITR, that is the objective, where actually we develop indigenous tools.
Like that last talker told already regarding that Apple technology, they are outsourcing everything.
Yeah.
But still there are more secured versions.
Yeah.
We can follow the same technology.
We can follow, but it all depends the individual requirement. Thank you. Thank you very much.